Hello and welcome everyone to Master Blender 3D with Wild West environment. Before we get started, we're going to dive into the resource pack, and for that, we're going to go over the basics of the Pureref software. If you are already familiar with the software, you may skip this lesson and go on to the next one, and we're going to cover the resource pack within there. Thank you so much for watching, and I will be seeing you in a bit.
Welcome everyone to our in-depth referencing guide, and it's very important that we actually use references in pretty much any kind of modeling or environments that we're actually going to be working on. So before we actually do anything, before we put any cubes down or anything like that, it's really important that we have some really decent references to actually work with. So the first thing I want to recommend is that you can use something to actually put all your references on, like Photoshop or even Word. But what I'm going to recommend is that you use something called Pureref. So if you go to the site that's called pureref.com, you will actually open this, and from there you can actually click Get Pureref, and that then will take you to this download screen, and you will see at the moment you've got 15.7 or custom amount. You can actually put this on 0 and actually get this for free. So it's completely free, and you can come back and make a donation if you like, and then all you need to do is click download. So the only things we're going to talk about pretty much for reference in here are going to be free, except our mid-journey part, but there are other alternatives like Dali and a load of others out there that you can use instead of Midjourney. Once you open up Pureref, then this is what you will be greeted by, this screen. And if you want to right click, you can actually drag this around to any of your other screens, or you can actually make it smaller like so. And it's a really good program, this really handy. Highly recommend getting this. So now let's actually think about getting our references, and there are a few sources that we use to actually grab references from, but generally what you want to do is you want to build up a kind of reference pack if you're going to be a hobbyist or a professional in 3D modeling or environments where you're going to see things perhaps on Pinterest or SketchUp, and actually you want to save them in a file. So I know people with thousands and thousands of images that they've saved over the years, and whenever they're coming to a project, they'll then dive in and actually find all of the images that they've got on that particular thing. This could be a samurai warrior or a Chinese bell. Also, a lot of people I know as well who are working professionally at this will go around museums, they will take their own actual images, and then they'll also upload those to the file as well. So the first point of call, if you've not actually got your own database yet, is probably going to be actually Google. So let's open up Google, and you can see here that at the moment I'm looking for a Victorian delivery truck. Now what I'm going to do is I'm just going to go through these and get some nice references like this one, for instance, and then I'm simply going to right click and I'm going to copy image. Then what I'm going to do is I'm going to go over to Pureref, so I'm just going to open it back up, press Ctrl V, and you'll see now that I've got my nice image in here. What we're also able to do with Pureref is we're able to also pull it out and make it bigger if needed, which is really handy when we're putting in lots and lots of actual images. Now the next thing I recommend you do once you've actually got an image in there is what you can do is you can left click and drag it over somewhere, and then what you can do is you can press Ctrl N and you can actually make a note. So let's call this Victorian trucks. Let's put it trucks. Now within my scene, I might actually want a Victorian lamppost as well as part of the scene or something like that. So let's actually look at the next one. So the next point of call is actually going to be Pinterest, and let's actually put in Victorian lamppost. So let's try that. Like so. Let's see what we get, and we can see we've got many styles, especially this one. This one's actually really nice. This one's also really nice. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to actually take this one, I'm going to right click, copy image, go back to my Pureref, and then drop the images in there like so, and maybe make this one a little bit bigger. What I tend to do is I gather a load of images for each of these things. When we're actually building a scene or even just a model, you want to grab as many images as possible. I'm talking hundreds of images here. And especially if you're doing a scene, you want all of the little parts, you want everything down to the lighting, the environment, the trees. You want to grab references for absolutely everything, because it will make your scenes just really look so much better if you've got some really good references. So now let me show you. This is one that I'm actually working on at the moment. So if I come over and load recent, I'm just going to load this one here, and you'll see at the moment I have all of my props. I have all of my main buildings that I'm going to be looking at to use as references. I have a ton of doors. I even have a load of foliage. I have all my windows. I have my lights over here. And I also have, more importantly, all of the lighting. In other words, it's a scene. So what time of day is it going to be? Is it going to be, you know, early in the morning? Or is it going to be at dusk? Is it going to be a night scene? Or is it going to be midday with that sun beating down on my scene? Just make sure that it actually matches the scene. There's no point having a scene like this, for instance, so this one here, if you've got a log cabin out in the snow. You really want it to match your actual scene. Now, before moving on, there are a couple of other places that we do go to use for referencing, especially something like SketchUp, which is really great because you can actually come into an actual scene, and then what you can do is you can actually rotate around it and really check out how a model is put together, like something like this, which is one of our actual own. But you can see here how easy it is then to get a good idea of what actually incorporated in this scene. And what you can actually do from there then is we can actually come down and we can actually get some screenshots of this, or even right click and copy image. There's also, let's say if we wanted to do a Victorian truck, for instance, to keep it the same theme as what we've been doing, you can see that there's no end of actual Victorian or vintage type vehicles on here. Not as many as what there is on ArtStation, but still a very good place to start looking for referencing. That leads me on to my next one, which of course is ArtStation. This simply is one of the biggest resources for referencing or for looking up artists in the world. So let's put in a reference of Victorian, for instance, and let's see what we actually get. Let's search artwork. So we're going to search artwork, and let's see what it actually comes up with. Should be lots and lots of things to work with here, especially good if you're looking for actual lighting. So you're looking for lighting effects like this one here. And again, we can take these and actual use them for references. And the best thing is about ArtStation is we can also come down and look at things that maybe are concept art, so 2D or actual 3D. And we can also come down as well and look at what subject matter it is. So it could be automotive, so Victorian automotives, or it could be architecture or something like that. So the possibilities with ArtStation are pretty much endless, and you're able to grab tons and tons of really high quality references. There are of course hundreds and hundreds of other places you could probably go to grab references, but I'm showing you these because as far as references go, these are some of the best places to go. Now let's move on then to one of the things that we really use a lot of now, which you wouldn't have thought actually would come into it as far as referencing goes, but it actually is really handy. So let me introduce to you now ChatGPT. So here is ChatGPT. You can see that we have ChatGPT 4, but we also have 3.5. 3.5 is actually free, and it is actually good enough to do whatever you want. You really don't need to pay for this. It's also free. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to message, and I'm going to type in, give me 10 different buildings for a Victorian town scene. Something like that. Let's click enter and let's see what it gives me. So you can see now it's given me a lot of things to actually work with here. And the best thing about this is you can also say, give me 10 more. And it will just then go ahead and give you 10 more. Now these things are really handy to use because then I can simply take these ideas and it'll also bounce other ideas to me, and I can then go into Pinterest or Google search and actually look them up or try and find something like this, and I can kind of get ideas and design my scene around there using all of those things, and especially Pureref. We can also take them in to our actual Midjourney. Now again, our Midjourney is paid for. I think the lowest amount is $20 or something like that. But there are many free things out there. But I will still show you what we actually do with our AI based image generator. So you can see at the moment, this is the image that we've actually generated. I know we've called it as Victorian era delivery van, and this is what we actually get. If we go to my images, you will see that we've generated a ton of images about all of the things. Especially we use this as well to generate textures. It's not just there to actually generate images and ideas and things like that. You can actually use it to generate transfers that are going to go on windows or adverts or actual textures. And we do use this especially for things like curtains, because it's really, really easy to get that look that you're actually looking for. So you can see here we've got a lot of ideas for living rooms. We've got a lot of ideas for bedrooms and things like that. What we can also do in Midjourney is we can also go and explore. And what you could do is you could look up with the search prompt Victorian, let's put in carriage. And then we can also get ideas from this. So if I put in Victorian carriage, you can see this is what comes up. Now, if we come over to here, we can also see, if we click on here, this is the actual prompt that somebody put in. So you can actually take that prompt, maybe change it around a bit, and then get your own images rather than just simply copying other people's images. It's a great place to start to actually gather your own images. And the other thing is about Midjourney is I can come in, for instance, let's just go back. And then what I can do is I can hold the shift button down. I can grab all of these, for instance, and then what I can do is click the download button and download all of those images. And the best thing is about Pureref is you can bring in multiple images at the same time. So you can just drag, drop them, and then they'll all appear actually next to each other. So really, really handy things to have. So lastly then, to sum up, don't do what I did a few years ago where I just dived straight into Blender and not even think about references and just find references if I had to while I'm actually building something. Don't do it that way. It leads directly into building a beautiful grade box as well, all this, because first of all, you grab all of your references, you make sure everything's set out. You can go and find some more references if you need to. You know, if you suddenly have a spark of inspiration, you want to make something on the fly, then grab some more references for it. But to start with, grab all of your references, have them really, really nicely laid out, and spend, you know, even half a day to a day grabbing all those references. You can then save the Pureref out as well into individual files, and then you'll have all of the references around that particular build in there, ready to use maybe on another project in the future. All right, everyone, so I hope you found this useful, and I hope you'll take my advice going forward. Thanks a lot, everyone. See you on the next one. Cheers.